You're listening to Let's Stay Together Anime Break, the subseries of Let's Stay Together where we talk about the 2019 anime Fruits Basket. I'm Ellen.
And I'm Kayla.
And today we're talking about the final season, episode 5, which was called, you know, right?
You know.
You know. They didn't even translate it that way in the subtitle. I noticed. I was like, isn't this the line that he says when he was saying something else? But it's fine. I thought it was funny. We're going to do our summary spoiler-free discussion, then spoiler-free discussion after the music like we always do. So you can stay spoiler-free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A healthy, spoiler-free diet.
Yeah. Spoiler-free.
No added spoilers.
I was going to say, what about sweet, sweet spoilers, though? This episode covered primarily chapters 111 and 116 of the manga. I have fact-checked all the bits that were from other places and located them. We can talk about it later. It's not that important.
I just went, oh, it's that part from that part. So.
It's that thing that happened with those guys. Yeah.
At that place.
Like, oh, I remember that thing happened. I have no idea where it was. I just spent like 10 minutes looking for one because because I'm dumb. Anyway.
Forgot how to count from 21 to 23.
It's because the volume numbers are like behind where my laptop is, so I pulled out one and I was like, oh, this is the last one, or this is the second to last one, and it wasn't. It was the third to last one. Anyway, because these are from different parts of or from kind of like, there's a gap in between the parts that were covered in the manga. We covered them in 2 episodes, which, if you're trying to stay spoiler-free, I wouldn't recommend that you listen to, but it was from our episode 56, which is called Hurry Up and Join Us, which was content that was covered in this episode. And then we read 115 to 118 at the same time. And that includes the like second part of the episode. And that was episode 59, and it was called Devoured by the Soma and the Bond. So dramatic. Apparently.
Should have gone with, you know, right?
It's definitely profound, that line. The episode opens at Ayame's store. Ayame stands looking out a window. Mine enters and asks what he'd like for dinner, but Ayame has other things on his mind. Mine, he says, if I remain cursed forever, will you leave me someday? I'm the one who decides what makes me happy, she says. Your Mine isn't going anywhere. At Great Teacher Mariko's family store. Great Teacher Mariko's family's bookstore. Hattori browses and Mayuko looks at a travel book. She's thinking of taking a trip. Is there some place that you'd like to go, Hattori-kun? She asks nervously. No, he says. At school, Machi meets Yuki in the council room. She's finished her work for the day and hands it to him. He thanks her and comments that it was done a little bit sooner than usual. I worked harder than usual, she says, looking down, smiling and blushing. She turns to leave. He grabs her wrist and starts to say, But Kimi enters suddenly, interrupting their moment, asking if anyone has seen her brush. Machi stands awkwardly to the side of the room, hiding her bright red, blushing face.
By stands awkwardly, you mean she's zoomed across the room.
And stands in the corner like it's like freaking the Blair Witch Project or whatever. I was like, why is she doing that? And then at the end, in the background, you can see like her ears are like bright red. I have to tell her, Yuki thinks, that I'm not a normal human. And we cut to the opening credits. We should have saved all our laughing for after.
And I'm not a normal rat.
I'm not a regular rat. I'm a cool rat. Didn't they translate the very first time that he has all the rats, like when Shigure's like, don't go by yourself, and he's like, who do you think you're talking to, or whatever? It wasn't what the subtitle was when he was like all creepy with all the rats. Am I crazy?
I think it was something like that.
He's like, I'm not a regular rat person. At the main house, Shigure visits Akito.
Taunts Akito.
Yeah, sasses her. He's really mean, which is kind of the point of the rest of the conversation, things that happen in this part of the story, or this part of the episode. But he stands outside her darkened room, asking what the point is of her holding up in there. Do you think if you stay in there long enough, you'll get the world you want? Kureno arrives and Shigure immediately leaves. Kureno asks why Akito is letting him leave. He's cold, she says. I don't care anymore. If he doesn't want to be nice to me when I'm really suffering, then forget about him. Thinking that way won't get you anywhere, Shigure thinks as he walks away. Time will move on and leave you behind. So will people and emotions. At school, the kids are all freaking out about how our little Momiji has suddenly become all grown up. The little boy who ran around eating ice cream and candy wearing a bunny backpack is all tall-like and handsome now. He finds Toru in the hall and asks to walk home with her. Oh, and let's get ice cream on the way home, he suggests enthusiastically, turning so that we can see that he's still rocking the bunny backpack, and I guess some things never change. They walk through the school, through the courtyard together, holding hands. He says everyone still looks so shocked when they see him. She says it's because he grew so fast and he's so handsome now. Handsome? You mean it? He says, and she's like, yes, you're like a prince. It's great, but he's happy he got taller, even though there are some things that he could do or get away with when he was smaller. But I'm a man too, you know, he says. Across the yard, they spot Yuki and Haru. Crazy sight, right? Haru says. Anyone would mistake them for a couple, because they're walking around holding hands and chatting and all jovial-like. Toru and Momiji meet Haru and Yuki. Toru says that she's happy to hear about Rin. Oh, I just told Hana-san that you found out which hospital Rin is in, Yuki clarifies. That he lied to her. Ah, thanks, Haru says. Momiji tells them that he and Toru were planning to get ice cream, but suggests they all get ice cream and hang out at Shigure's together. He suggested they get ice cream cake too, which causes Toru to nearly faint. I guess she's never had it, Yuki says. It's definitely been classified as a luxury item in her brain, Haru adds. But she's like completely taken aback.
She's like, ice cream
cake? Although, like, I feel the same way, even though I'm sure that I could afford it or whatever. It's just like, no, I can't. It's like two things at the same time. It's obviously a luxury. Meanwhile, at Shigure's house, Kyo has returned first and found Hiro and Kisa there. Kisa struggles to greet him. Hiro sasses Kyo for intimidating her. They continue to argue for a bit, and Kyo asks why they're there, and Hiro says they saw Shigure as he was leaving, and he let them in. Kisa stands and struggles to say, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Kyo says back. He goes upstairs to change. Hiro-chan, I was able to greet him, Kisa says excitedly. I saw, he says. He really is nice deep down, huh? It seems like he's always nice to One-chan after all, Kisa says. Back in the main house, Satori sasses Shigure about him visiting Akito. As I said before, seems like every time that he visits, she gets more and more withdrawn. No way, really? Doesn't that seem like really bad? Shigure says sarcastically, and Tori thinks, knowing we're the same age makes me truly sad sometimes. Akito is digging in her heels because Shigure won't tell her what he's thinking, Tori says. But Shigure is doing that on purpose. And Tori says that he should stop having a battle of wills with Akito. Even to me, it sometimes seems like you truly hate her. Why not be a little nicer to her? You say that, but kindness for me is a hastily manufactured afterthought. It's not as good as the real thing that you have, Shigure says. For some reason, I don't find it sad. I wonder why. I never particularly wanted a parent's love, and it doesn't bother me that I'm cursed. He remembers the day of the dream, thinking, if this is what you call being twisted, then I must be. And the fact is that I can't even find that sad. Maybe that makes me very alone. Maybe a person like me should have dreamed of, he starts to say, but trails off, and more jovially points out to Hattori that he's not a nice person, so it's a wash, you know? Hattori asks if he's giving up without even trying. A generous kindness like yours or a detached kindness like Kureno-kun's, even assuming Akito wants that from me, it's not going to happen, Shigure says. I'm not looking to become that kid's father. At Shigure's, all the kids are there, including Toru and Kisa, in their own hearty embrace in the corner. They debate what to do for dinner, and the idea of barbecue is put forward, but they're not sure the house is equipped for that. We're fine without equipment. We just need a fire hot enough to grill meat, right? Haru says, knocking the table thoughtfully. Yes, this'll burn well. What are you planning? Hiro and Yuki shout simultaneously. The debate continues a little longer, but Yuki finally says, let's go with curry. Toru asks where Kyo is, and Kisa says that she's in his room, and Momiji goes to fetch him. In Kyo's room, Momiji tells him that they'll all be staying for dinner. It's okay, we decided on curry, he confirms. Whatever, you grew a lot, huh? Kyo says. Right, Momiji says. Pretty soon I might be taller and better looking than you. Then maybe Toru will accept my proposal. Kyo glares, but Momiji continues cheekily. Do you get that if you give up, something might happen? So you shouldn't give up. I'm going to stop thinking like that and giving up. One sting of some other guy took Toru from you? Kyo says nothing. Well, look at the time. We better go help with curry, Momiji says, running off cheerfully. It's a really strange feeling coming home to find a soup kitchen in my front yard, Shigure says a while later, having returned from the main house to find all the kids cooking a big pot of curry in his yard. They all welcome him back. I'm home, children, Shigure says. Papa's home. Hiro asks Yuki WTF is up with him. He's just an idiot. Don't worry, Yuki says.
He says it very cheerfully in the dub, which I thought was funny. He's like, oh, he's an idiot.
Yeah, he's just like, it's an obvious clarification. Yeah. Shigure sits on the porch. Toru asks if he'd like curry, and he asks how she's doing, if she's working hard, and she says she is. Maybe I should have dreamed of someone like you, he says. Maybe a person like me needs someone like you most, the author finds himself thinking. He stands and leans in close to her. I'm just playing at what ifs, he says, and she's understandably confused. He stands back. Anyway, I'll take a medium-large serving, he says. And she's like, okay, and is called away by Momiji to break out the ice cream cake. Time will begin marching on, Shigure thinks. People and feelings too. So I want you to come soon too. We transition to the past. At the main house, Akito's father tells her a story. Once upon a time, God invited all the animals to a banquet. The God in that story was you, Akito. A special child, a chosen child, born to be loved. There's no loneliness or fear in your future, only unchanging bonds. No one will ever leave you. We see imagery of the bond, the cord. It snaps suddenly and Akito wakes, panicked, as she runs out of her room into the night. Momiji stands alone in his house, looking out into the dark yard. Oh, the end comes so suddenly, he thinks, and he cries. Akito arrives in the yard. Momiji, don't go, she says. Don't leave me. She staggers over and clutches at his shirt. What was that? He thinks. What were all those feelings watching me like guards from the corner of my heart? What about this person could possibly tie me down? This weak, pitiful person. He looks at her coldly. She reaches up toward his face. No, she says. Stop! Don't look at me with those eyes. You should go back to your room. I'm sure you don't feel well, Momiji says coolly. You don't need to worry. I won't tell anyone about this. Go home, at least for tonight. I'm a little confused right now, too. He closes the door. Akito stands shocked outside. I'll come talk to you tomorrow, he says, then closes the curtains, too. Akito drops to her knees on the ground. At school the next day, Haru asks if Yuki has seen Momiji. Yuki asks if something happened, but Haru says nothing happened, but he's different. Something is weird. Toru meets him in the hall, and Haru asks if she's seen him as well. Why, what's the matter? She asks. I wonder what's the matter, he says, looking up thoughtfully. Toru freaks out, and Yuki sasses him. Yuki clarifies that everything is fine, he was just asking. Kyo meets them as well, and Haru asks Kyo as well if he's seen Momiji. From the roof, Momiji notices Toru watching Kyo as he leaves. Shortly after that, Kyo finds Momiji on the roof and tells him the others were looking for him, but pauses mid-sentence. What? Momiji asks. Nothing. Is something different about you? Kyo says. My curse is broken. Wouldn't it surprise you if I said that? He asks. What? Listen, Kyo says, but Momiji cuts him off. Yours breaking would make Toru happier than mine breaking, he says. You realize, don't you? I'm the one that stings. Momiji leaves. Kyo, wide-eyed, says to himself, Shut up, I don't want to realize that. It's 2. Later, Momiji visits Akito. He spent the whole day thinking about why his curse might have broken, but he can't think of a reason. Regardless, he can't stay by Akito's side for the rest of his life. Akito stands and slaps him. She calls him a monster and a traitor. If you leave me, you've got no place to go back to. Your mother and father won't welcome you back. No one. You'll never be happy. Memories of his mother's self-harm and her memories being erased and his father flash before us. I know. I've become free and so lonely, he says. The curse breaking doesn't mean I'll get the girl I want, he says, thinking of Toru, and the bonds that unconditionally connected me to everyone are gone. But it's too late. I can't go back to before things were broken. On another morning, Momiji takes a different route to school, stopping to chat with his mother. She doesn't recognize him as her son, of course, but from their encounters at his father's office building. You've grown so tall, she says. I hardly recognized you. He asks if her daughter has grown too. She's still a little kid, Momiji's mom says. The family is going to take a trip this summer, and she can hardly contain herself. Are you going on a trip with your family too? She asks. Their happiness is in a place where I'm not, Momiji thinks. He remembers the end of his conversation with Akito. But don't tell me that not having those things means I can't be happy, he says to her. I feel vulnerable being free, but happiness might exist for me, somewhere in the future waiting for me to catch up. In the present with his mother, he says, there will be a trip. With the family I can have someday, he thinks. Back in the past with Akito, he says, I'm finally going to start walking on my own life's path. What about you? How long will you stay here? The person most afraid that if they leave this place they'll have no home and happiness, he says, trailing off. Just shut up, Akito says. Get lost. Momiji leaves without another word. In the present, he says goodbye to his mother. See you later. Take care, she says. He smiles and says, will do. And then we cut to the end credits. The end.
Yay.
So a lot of things happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything we predicted and more.
Yes.
I feel like. Last time we had an extensive discussion about what was going to happen this time because of the title, because we knew what it was from.
Mm-hmm.
So
it turns out it was too much to fit in one episode, which is why it was just some like brief glimpses of scenes rather than the full moments we thought they were.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had the full, basically like the full chapter with Momiji. Like
yeah,
the first
like
chapter.
the Ayame Mine and Yuki Matsu
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. The things from other places. So yes, I have indicated have noted which chapters all those things come from in case anybody cares. I know that you care because you're listening. But the scene with Yame and Mine, I think, is adapted from chapter 110, which...
Yeah, they sort of... like, the dialogue is kind of... Yeah, it's kind of from the, like, the flashback to, like, Ayame, like, confessing to her.
Yeah. And then the one with Hattori and Mayuko is added. I don't think that exists.
Well, it's kind of similar to the one toward the end where they're talking about, like, going somewhere.
Going on a trip?
Mayuko's like... It's like, I can't imagine you on the beach or whatever. Like...
Hattori in shorts. Yes. Yeah, you're right. I totally forgot about that scene. I didn't look that up. But yeah, there is a scene where they're talking about traveling. It's just much later. And it's in a different place. And then the one with Yuki and Machi is...
not as melancholy.
It's definitely not as melancholy. I think making it melancholy is an interesting choice. Where Hattori's
I think it worked for...
No, there's nowhere that I want to go. Like, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah, I think it worked to kind of create, like, a bit of a theme of, like, how the curse is holding people back. But
yeah,
things are starting to move, so...
That's why I think all of these scenes, all the scenes at the beginning were all about that, which was nice, including the one with Yuki and Machi, which is from chapter 128, in case anybody cares. And then even the scene with Akito and Akira, her father telling her the story of the zodiac, that's actually from the end of 115. It's right before. So like I said, this stuff with Momiji's curse breaking is in 116, so it's like right before that, but it's from the end of a different chapter. So
yeah, I think it kind of leads into it the same way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the same. Like, it's exactly the same order. It's just, like, technically split up, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good lead into that part. So yeah, so all of it is like, so they're all kind of framing how the curse is holding all of them back from moving forward. And then the first chapter is about, the first part of the episode has a lot of focus on, like, Shigure and Akito, and Shigure continuing to, like, kind of be an asshole to Akito to try to help her not be so like not be so attached to the, like, things staying the same.
Yeah,
that's what it seems like when you contrast it with everything else.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's not doing a good job. So, and everybody's in the episode of Sassy, you know, Hattori is like, could you not? So, like, where
Shigure's like, you came here to, like, just to scold me. And he's like, I live here.
Yeah.
This is my house.
So Shigure went there to be scolded.
Yes.
Let's be clear. Whenever
he's
Shigure...
Like, I've been a naughty boy.
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to need to tell Hattori about this and then get him to scold me. It seems like he's really... We talked about it, I think, last season, too, where he's just kind of, like, really frustrated with Akito's behavior. And I think we can see why, because she's, like, super reticent to change anything. So.
Yeah.
And wants to keep all the zodiac close to her and stuff. So.
Because certain parents told her she was born to be loved and didn't have to fear any changes in the future.
And then certain parents said, that's a lie and everything is wrong.
Yes.
So there's nothing... that none of that would fuck up a child at all.
Nope.
Nope. But yeah, I like that because I feel like some of those ideas, like that Akito's father told her that she was, like, born to be loved and that nothing would ever change and she would always have this, like, support system and stuff. Like I said, it's from a much later. Well, it's kind of, they brought in, like, Momiji's curse breaking, which is kind of from a later part. So there's other things that happened before, like, that scene, and I think they brought it in a little bit last episode too. So they're kind of sprinkling it throughout this part of the story, instead of waiting for the build up at the end. So I think that kind of helps make her
like
deal clearer. I think earlier.
Yeah, like we had the stuff with the box that was more elaborated on in the last episode, and so having it kind of lead into her, like, having that, like, dream turn to nightmare when Momiji's curse breaks, like, is a nice, like, flow, I think.
I like the way that they are bringing some of those elements into the story sooner. And bringing them all together. So, like, bringing the Yuki and Machi scene and the Ayame Mine scene and, like, making the Hattori and Mayuko scene sad before going into, like, kind of the main content of this episode, I think also helps frame all of that idea better that everyone's trying to move forward.
Yeah.
Or at least that Shigure thinks that everyone will move forward too. Like, that's kind of, and he wants Akito to move on in his determination to have a relationship with her that's not just them fighting all the time. So yeah, I don't know. I liked the way they adapted all those things in together. I think it makes a lot of sense. And then same with like this content with where Momiji is kind of the center of attention a little bit. He's like one of the main people in both of these. Well, obviously in the parts where he's his curse is broken, but like using the other part to kind of lead into that is nice too. Because like in the part where his curse breaks, he's like, well, I can't even have like my connection with everyone is gone. So that's contrasted with the beginning where they're all hanging out together. And he can't have the girl that he wants, which is also contrasted from the beginning where he's talking to Kyo. He sees Toru, noticing Kyo walk away and all these other things. It's a good idea to put these two chapters together, I guess is what I'm saying. So, yeah. I liked that. Anyway, in terms of what happened, do you remember how we talked about, in terms of all the things that happened, remember how we talked about like all the spoiler things in the end, like that everyone was complaining about and stuff?
Yeah.
And like Ayame and Mine were there. Of course, we talked about how they already had, I mean, it's kind of obvious they're together, but I think this made it super clear.
Yeah.
So they're not just shopkeeper and shopkeep-y. They obviously have a long-standing relationship, I think. That's how they call it, right? Shopkeeper and shopkeep.
Yes. Yeah, one kind of interesting thing with that is they made it explicit that Mine knows about the curse.
Yeah.
Which was, I mean, I think it was heavily implied that she did in the manga, but Ayame avoided answering the question when Yuki asked, so.
That's right. Yeah, so it's obvious that she knows. I think she knows in the manga. I don't think that's like different, but.
Yeah, I think it's pretty heavily implied. But...
Like I said, they have a long-standing relationship, so.
Yeah.
She must know, right?
Yeah. I feel like it'd be hard to, like, be a figure in Ayame's life without discovering it. He's not a very withdrawn person.
No. Because I'm a snip. I mean, well, he's also constantly fainting and turning into a snake and stuff, so.
Yeah.
I bet there were hijinks in the store. You know, that a customer coming in and he turns into a snake and it's like, oh no.
You know, they're all like measuring stuff on each other.
I bet there's drabbles. She trips on some fabric and falls into him and then he turns into a snake. Right? You're measuring things. You know, it's like close quarters.
Like, I need to reach around and adjust this. Oh, darn.
Oh, no. I need to take your waist measurement. Oops. It's like, manager, I can't reach this, like, high thing. And then, you know, he falls off the stool into her or something. Maybe Ayame, if he wanted to be more careful, he should have just hired a male assistant. Yeah. But then, I don't know. I like Mine a lot.
Yeah, my slight headcanon for them.
Yes.
Is that he hired her partially as like a fuck you to like the family. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go. It's like I'm gonna hire a female assistant and go start my shop out in the real world.
Yeah.
And then they fell in love, and he's like, fuck.
No, he was probably like, she's the love of my life.
Yeah.
I think Ayame said fuck them a long time ago because, like. His parents never liked him, and Akito never liked him, and so he had, like, Shigure and, Hattori, I guess, nominally. Well, I think Hattori likes him. It's just they have a fun relationship. But yeah, I think he was kind of, like, everybody in the family cared about Yuki and other people. I think he kind of just, like, scooted by, you know, and, like, was like, I want to do this thing. I'm sure he was under the same pressure as all of them in the past. He talked about that with Yuki last season, right? Yeah, that happened last season. Like when he visited a shop and stuff and was worried about the future and whatnot. So that definitely happened last time, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah, it did.
It did, okay. I didn't want to be spoiling, you know? So yeah, I'm sure, I don't know, he probably had the same, like, pressures and stuff, but I kind of think all the attention was on other people by the time he was, like, able to be like, I'm going out in the world and doing my own thing. And he probably has, like, the Soma money to, like, start a shop, so. I feel like it's also a good fuck you to be like, the most intimate person in my life that I see all the time is going to be a woman. Deal with it.
It's like, oh, look how close I am to revealing the curse. Anything could happen.
Akito's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Anything could happen. I mean, Akito let Toru live there, so I mean, Akito was probably banking on her finding out and being like, ew, gross, you all turn into animals. But no, turns out she loves all of them. Because she's a good person.
The cat's her favorite.
You're the cat fan club. She's like, oh, I felt so bad for the cat. Well, season 1 was so long ago. Now people are getting locked up in rooms and having their hair cut and their curses are breaking and they're all alone. Let's go back and watch season 1. That one was cute.
It's like, we've come so far, question mark.
That's okay. I think we're going to be rewarded later for all of our pain. So anyway, whatever. I just wanted to say Yame and Mine are cute. That's all. Yeah. And they had a great scene. I'm happy that they were there. Yuki and Machi had their little scene. It was also cute and awkward. It's cute that I just like kind of forgot that Machi was so embarrassed by it. And I liked the way that they drew her ears. Like, they're so red. Like, they're bright red. And Kimi was great as usual, breaking up all their school, whatever, their a very small like student council hijinks portion is what we got. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was Kisa greeting Kyo, which is cute. I'm avoiding talking about Momiji till the end. This is my plan of discussion. But I like how Kisa is like, good afternoon, and he's like, good afternoon. And then she's like, he's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and when Kisa says that I didn't say it in this like summary, but when Kisa says that he's nice to Toru, Hiro's kind of like, like, do you think that he notices? I mean, everybody does, right?
Yeah. Well, they cut part of that scene from the manga that I was a little sad to see go.
Which part?
Like, I think it's after Momiji goes up to like get Kyo when they're like all talking about it, whatever.
Oh.
And he's like, isn't that kind of bad that
yeah,
if they like
You're
each
right.
other? And then...
You know how, because in that scene Momiji is like, I'm not gonna give up on the cat, and I was like, didn't he say that? But he didn't say it in the anime. Yeah, you're totally right about that.
Yeah, they
like,
kind of
maybe
took out some of the like
forgot.
the cat stuff from there. I don't know if they're gonna bring it back later, but
Maybe.
I liked those parts. So
Yeah, they kind of
we've talked a bit about how the like the younger Somas all seem to kind of like actually care about each other and stuff, and I feel like there's kind of a thing toward, especially at this part of the series, where they're all kind of like, that cat room thing's kind of fucked up. like we never really questioned it before, but
yeah, you're right. They cut all of that out because there's like multiple parts where Toru's all freaking out on the side with Kisa, and Hiro is like, does he like her? And Yuki's like, isn't it? And then he's like, isn't it bad for, or Yuki's like, is it bad for him to like her? And then Hiro's like, well, crap, the cat is. And then like Haru and Yuki just stare at him.
Yeah.
That's the scene you're referring to.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so in the scene where Momiji's like, I'm not going to give up anymore, or whatever, he has a line where he says, I'm going to stop giving up on the cat. And I'm pretty sure they changed it to like, I'm going to stop giving up on myself. And I was like, why does he keep saying that over and over again? It's because that line is like is altered.
Yeah.
And Kyo also answers him. So Kyo is like, it's pretty late in the game for that. And Momiji's like, yeah, I know, but... And then he goes, if Toru is going to be taken by another man when you regret it, or whatever, and then runs away. So
because like when they're talking to, like with Hiro, they're kind of saying like you go out of your way to like mention the thing everyone's trying to avoid, and then like Momiji's saying like, I'm going to stop like trying not to think about it, and I'm going to stop giving up on the cat, basically. So.
Yeah. Hiro, you go out of your way to cross bridges that everyone avoids, don't you? He says. Also, Kyo like has a funny freak out moment after too, where he's like, "Does this mean everybody knows? Does everybody know?" And they made all of his like freaking out really dramatic, which it is. Yeah. But they didn't add that, which is anyway.
Yeah, they kept in the dramatic freak out and got rid of the comedic freak out.
Why not both? Yeah, you're right. I was definitely confused by that because I thought that was when he said that. So I guess they cut that. But
yeah, I'm hoping they'll bring back something along those lines because I know that's an aspect of it I like, that Like, the younger ones are starting to be like, this is kind of not okay. Like,
yeah. They kind of avoided. So we haven't really talked about it yet because I know that hasn't happened. But during these episodes I find are skipping around a lot, and some other things they're skipping around are like Kyo related drama, basically, and like Kyo and Toru related drama. So I feel
it definitely
like
feels like they're gearing up for a long like Kyo Toru stretch. So
I kind of like leading in with Momiji saying this stuff to Kyo. Like, I like that approach.
Yeah.
But
I think like for this episode, and if it's leading into the Kyo Toru stuff, it works. I'm just a little sad to see that stuff go. So.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I thought it was important, and it's not. It's a little bit disappointing that they took it out, but it makes sense to make the episode more about Momiji. So maybe they'll bring back the idea somewhere else.
Yeah,
that would be nice. I guess what I was leading into was that because they haven't really touched on any Kyo stuff yet, maybe they'll bring it in a little bit later. But
yeah, and they haven't like done like the aftermath of Rin being locked in the cat's room. So
no.
That might
Yuki covered
kind of connect to that,
yeah. You didn't want to tell Toru, so exactly. So that might connect to the Kyo drama, the cat drama, cat-related drama. So I feel like it's been like purposefully avoided. Like all the episodes we've seen so far have not included any like Kyo and Toru, like kind of barely been in them. So except for talking to the other people that the episode's kind of about or whatever. So yeah. So yeah, of course the episode focused on Momiji, as we've been discussing.
Yeah.
So okay. So Momiji's curse broke. He doesn't know why. So this is important, I guess, information, because I always feel like we forget to talk about things because we've already read it before and stuff. But this is the first time somebody else's curse is broken other than Kureno. So it's kind of important to note. And it just seemed like it just happened, and he didn't have any control over it, just like Kureno. So kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It was just random.
So the voice acting from Momiji's actors was very good. Both versions. I mean, I'm less equipped to analyze how good it was in Japanese, but it sounded good.
It sounded good. And I also like how, well, his voice is different too, because now it's deeper, because he's taller. So it was a little bit, I was like, every time he talked, I was like, who's that? Oh, it's Momiji. But yeah, the scenes, I only watched the sub, and it was very good. I like how cold he is to Akito. He's so
I kind of laughed a little bit that he closes the door and the curtains.
And the curtain. Yeah. So intense. I was like, oh, harsh. I mean, like, it's good though, because so many other characters would have just been like, oh, like that was Kureno's problem. That's what Shigure yelled at him about on the phone. And like he's like, no, I just like want to think and like be alone and stuff.
Yeah. I've always loved the line as like Akito is like literally clinging to him, begging him to stay, and he's like, what the heck was keeping me bound to this person? Yeah,
it's so great.
Yeah.
This like pathetic person who's and Akito is so getting very desperate at this point. Yeah. Like her desperation has increased significantly since because we talked about how her, like, especially I think during the beach arc, when we see her, she's like thinks everything is okay and is in control, and we're like, no, that's not true. Yeah. And now I think we're kind of like seeing that actually start to unravel, and she's like freaking out. Yeah. So then Shigure, on top of that, being a jerk to her, is also not probably making that worse, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, she like stumbled through the mud in the middle of the night to go to Momiji's house, like,
and then clung to him, and then he slammed the door in her face.
And the curtains.
Yeah, and the curtain. He's like, I'll talk to you tomorrow. And then, like, shuts the curtain. It's like, oh, that was harsh. And he's just so, like, detached when he's talking to her, too. Where it's just, like, very straightforward. And, I don't know, very cold. And kind of sort of a cold look on his face, too. Oh, I'm sure it's really, like, confusing and whatever, but just interesting how some, like, Kureno's reaction is obviously completely different, right? Where he was, like, although he's kind of around the same age as Momiji, so that's interesting. But Akito was a tiny child, so it was a little bit different. Yeah. A different relationship.
Yeah, I think he might have been a little bit younger now that I'm thinking about it, because he was in a middle school uniform, wasn't he?
That's right. I don't know, I guess. I thought he said he was younger than Toru, so could have been high school, could have been middle school, but kind of around the same age, I think. Yeah. He was a teen.
Yeah.
A young teen.
Yeah, it wasn't a drastic difference, but...
Yeah. But Akito was younger, and like...
Yeah, Akito was tiny.
I think it's different for... My impression of the curse is that it's different for Shigure, Hitori, and Iyame, and Kureno, because they remember when they remember a time before Akito.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that bond's like somehow stronger for them or something, you know?
Yeah. They were also like, they seem to have like grown up like kind of as friends with Akito until, you know, she kind of snapped.
Yeah. Momiji, on the other hand, when we talked about this and probably other things that happened, remember when we talked about Momiji before in our like manga episodes, it seemed like doesn't Momiji say that Akito like doesn't really care about him and stuff? Like,
yeah, someone says like during the beach arc, someone says like he should be more worried about himself because Akito doesn't like him.
Yeah,
and he's just like, that's okay, I'm used to it, which is horrible.
I don't know. It's probably better not to receive Akito's attention, but yeah,
just
horrible in a different way. Yes,
just cheerful child being like, that's okay, I'm used to nobody caring about
me. Oh, this whole like arc for Momiji is so sad. I mean, it's nice that he's like looking toward the future and stuff, but it's all like, I know that I can't, like, my family doesn't care about me. I know that I don't have this connection to anyone anymore, like this unconditional connection to anyone anymore, and I can't even though my curse is broken, I still can't be with the person that I love. But I'm still like, not just because I don't have those things doesn't mean I can't be happy. Yeah. So, I mean,
just can't catch a break.
No. But he completely rejected Akito's like last ditch effort to be like, everyone, you're all alone. And he was like, so, which is great.
He's like, yeah, and what else is new?
What's new? Yeah. There's also a scene where he's like talking about the barbecue, and he was like, real food. And I was like, oh, I bet Momiji like doesn't even know how to cook. He's like a teen that like lives by himself. Like, he probably just eats instant ramen all the time. Yeah. It was completely irrelevant to everything that happened. But I was like, oh, Momiji, you probably haven't had a good meal in a long time. At least that's what I would have eaten like if I was a teen by myself.
I would not have been responsible for my own nutrition at that age successfully.
I mean, I could make like a grilled cheese and, you know, spaghetti and stuff probably, but like, yeah,
I made like egg sandwiches in the microwave, and that was like the healthiest thing I could make by myself.
And like Easy Mac or whatever. You know? And like maybe a fruit once in a while and like a multivitamin or something. But yeah, I can't imagine Momiji like, you know, taking care of himself or whatever. So he just like lives off of candy.
Yes. If you have enough sugar, you'll never get tired.
Yeah, really. He's like awake all night because there's nobody watching him because he's a child that lives by himself. Anyway. But yeah, I just, that little thing he said, I was like, oh, Momiji, you should have some real food.
Yeah. I did like the imagery of like the younger Momiji and the like current Momiji. Yeah. That's like moves forward.
I liked that. He's like, oh, there's like a future waiting for me, and it's like his older self like kind of running away or whatever. Yeah, I enjoyed that in addition to the cord breaking, as we're accustomed to seeing now to represent the bond. Yep. Yeah.
I guess it's a substitute for the feathers.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say there wasn't any feathers in this. Did you notice? At least as far as I could tell. I looked back at the manga and I was like, feathers everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. The feathers made more sense with Kureno, but yeah. In the manga, what we're talking about is that in the manga there's extensive like imagery of feathers, particularly with around the curse breaking. So like they're used in the scene with Kureno's curse breaking, but like also there's a bunch of birds and stuff. So it's kind of, you know, I don't know. You could interpret it as being part of that, I guess. But yeah, in other parts there's this imagery of feathers, white feathers that's used specifically, and there wasn't any in this episode of the anime. He disappointed in that too. I mean,
it's like the death of feather theory.
No,
I won't give up.
Maybe they'll bring in some like feathers and other things that happen later. I can't remember if they used them in the other places, like with Uo and stuff. Not that she's cursed, but there was like black feathers or whatever when it was in her backstory, and I can't remember if they did that in the anime or not.
I think they might have. I feel like we talked about feather theory, the anime context before.
Feathers. A listener messaged me recently and was like, "Why did you guys talk about feather theory? What episode was it?"
It's like we're always talking about feather theory.
Yeah, all the time. Especially because we have a resident feather expert.
Yes.
Yeah. So Momiji, it's sad, but he's moving forward to the future. I feel like it's a good message.
He's a very strong person.
Yes. I was like, this is the message I need right now.
I can be happy.
Someday I'll get out of this, even if now is sad. Stupid fruits basket. I mean, is there any other things that you want to say about Momiji? Oh, wait, I thought of something else that I wanted to say. Interrupt you before you can even answer. I was gonna say the scene with his mom is interesting too. Mm-hmm. So he goes and visits her, and the thing that I thought was cute and interesting is that when he leaves, she's kind of like says goodbye like you would to like somebody who's like in your house or whatever, where she's like take care and whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's probably like, I think that's part of why he's kind of taken aback when he turns around and stuff.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cute. It was like, oh, it's like it's like the words that a mom would tell you, and mm-hmm. whatever. It's like sad and sweet and poignant. I liked that part.
Yeah.
That part was also in the manga. It's just kind of like the way that it was worked into anime, I think was smart. So, mm-hmm. It was cute. It was sad. Mm-hmm. But he's moving on. He's going to have his own family and go on his own trip someday. Mm-hmm. I hope he can be friends with Momo someday.
Yeah.
Momo wants him to be her big brother.
Yeah.
He looks just like her and everything.
Can't keep them apart.
She can sneak into his house and watch him, or sneak into his yard and watch him play violin or whatever. Mm-hmm.
So do you concerts together?
Yeah, because she's taking violin lessons with his teacher, which always drives me crazy. Mm-hmm. Where his dad is like, you can't take lessons with the teacher anymore. Momo's gonna take lessons with her. It's like, so rude. Mm-hmm. That was like his one thing that he had.
Yeah, and she wants to take lessons because it's his teacher.
Oh, because of him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why is Momiji so sad? I mean, I guess that's obvious.
Yes.
But he's, like, presented as this sort of, like, eternally hopeful character, which is nice.
Yeah. If he wasn't hopeful, it would just be too much.
Well, if he wasn't hopeful, it would be Rin. Like, that's kind of... You know what I mean? Like, we already have a character that's kind of... It's not that Rin isn't hopeful. I think she's just, like... With Rin, I feel like all her pain is just, like, suppressed in the service of trying to reach her goal of, like, freeing Haru. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think she's hopeful about, like, everything but herself. Like,
right.
Like, her hopes are all external.
Right. Well, Rin is very, like, detached from herself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we had a whole, like, discussion about her, like, referring to herself as, like, an object rather than...
Yeah.
Like, herself.
Yeah. I don't know if that's so obvious. I can't remember if we talked about that in the anime, but... she just kind of described herself as like a thing where she's like, I'm broken and whatever. I forget exactly. I don't, probably in that like earlier episode about that was like her backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how she's like represented as the doll and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Momiji's not really like that. I think like he's internalized and already kind of like processed all of those feelings about his family and stuff, mm-hmm. and kind of like presented as someone who's moving on.
Yeah.
At least. Like, he has hopes. Like, I think he hopes that he could have a relationship with his sister and, like, hopes that he can have a family and stuff. But mm-hmm. It seems like he's moved on a bit from that. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
He's had a long time to process it since he was, like, 3 or whatever, living by himself. So sad. Is there a Soma family therapist? Like...
There should be. I think it's...
There really should be.
I think it's Kazuma. Unpaid therapist Kazuma.
He's like, come, my children. Yeah. He's the actual, like, Papa on, like, Shigure.
Yes.
I think it's Kazuma. The other thing that I was going to say that I thought was interesting about this episode is Shigure is this, like, really dark introspection that he has in this episode. Mm-hmm. I always found the scene where he's talking to Toru weird. Like, I get what he's saying. I just always find it disconcerting. Mm-hmm. I think it's supposed to be, I guess. But...
Yeah. I liked the, I don't know if it was in the manga and they just didn't translate it that way, but him, like, sort of turning it into a narration where he's like the author
thinks to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
In the dub it said the author thinks contemplating his own backstory. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I don't know how it's written. It's not written that way in the English translation, at least, mm-hmm. That I can think of offhand.
Yeah, it wasn't. I remember.
I feel like I would remember something like that if it was. But yeah, him saying like the author thinks to himself. I kind of forget how like Shigure has all these like schemes and stuff, but he's very like introspective and self-aware.
Yeah. And
I think that shows in these scenes in particular, where he's like, I'm not kind like you, Hattori, and I'm not kind like Hirano. If Akito wants those things for me, she's not going to get them. And
yeah.
If she's looking for a father in me, she's not going to find it. Which is a good call. You shouldn't look for your parents and a significant other.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if you should look for Shigure in your significant other either.
Start singing Father Figure by what's his face?
I don't even know. What are you referring to?
The song, like, I will be your father figure, put your tiny hand in mine.
I am not familiar with this song.
It's George Michael, yeah.
Oh. The only George Michael song that I know is like Careless Whisper or whatever. The saxophone song. Or it's his band. I forget.
Wham. I think it's...
I was going to say Wham, and then I was like, it's not Wham.
I think Careless Whisper is George Michael.
George Michael. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wham, with an exclamation mark.
Wham! I was like, I know what song Wham is famous for, don't I?
Wake Me Up Before You Go Go.
Yes.
And
Last Christmas.
Going solo.
Last Christmas. I gave you my heart. Okay, good. So yeah, nothing else?
No.
Okay, next time... Okay, thank you for listening. Next time... I forget to say it every time, but I actually appreciate them. So, Anyway, we're going to do music. Then we're going to talk about spoilers. So we'll see you next time for next episode, which is called It Was So Foolish.
If it wasn't copyrighted, it'd be really funny to play a Wham song instead of our
Wake Me
Fruits Basket song as we transition into spoilers.
No, I don't want to get sued. How about I just like sing a parody?
On ukulele.
I'll sing it on guitar like a folk song. Like Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day... How would I just sing it awkwardly? Anyway, bye, I guess.
Bye.
Give it to someone special. Once bitten and twice shy. My God, I thought you were someone to rely on. If you sing it out of order, does that count? So, spoilers.
Yes.
I guess we're back to talk about those, depending on how little or how much I've cut of all the things that we just said. You're like, what? Don't cut any of it. It's quality content. Next time, I think we're going to talk about Ayame. I think that It's So Foolish is him talking about the girl. The high school girl.
I thought it was Kyo talking about like when Toru tells him about how
oh my God,
she was like
her dad.
imitating her dad.
He does say that it was... He says like it was stupid, or she's stupid, or something.
Yeah, he's like, it must have been so stupid or whatever.
But she did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe
it
the
curtain
will
hug.
Be curtain. The sheet hug. Sheet hug. Now I'm really excited. I mean, I like the Ayame Mine part. But I guess it can't be awkward Kyotoru times for where Yuki leaves until there's awkward Kyotoru times. Like, because just them touching hands wouldn't be enough. They have to have touched hands after hugging in the sheets, right? Hugging in the sheets. Like, I didn't realize it was that kind of anime.
That sounds like a lyric from an 80s song. To bring it back.
I was trying to think of a good parody. I couldn't think of one fast enough. Like, hugging in the sheets. How about that? Breaking Down the House is an 80s song, isn't it? I like it when I can actually make you laugh. It's pretty great. You weren't expecting that, were you?
No.
That's a song that I don't know any of the words to, because like none of them are actually sound like words except for Burning Down the House. Where it's like blah, 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 blah. It's like, what are you saying? Anyway, okay. Maybe it will be that. I do think, we said it in non-spoilers, but I think, like, using the Momiji stuff to, like, lead into Kyotoru drama makes sense. I like that approach of being like, but what would you do?
Yeah.
What would you do? And he's like, now he can freak out for the next 6 episodes or whatever, because there's so much Kyotoru content, which I'm not complaining about. I'm just saying there's a lot in the rest of the series. So, yeah, I don't know. I wonder if they must make this like 25 episodes or whatever. I think they're just skipping around a lot. I think there's still a lot of content. They still haven't talked about any of the Toru's mom stuff from like volume 17 or whatever, so whatever that was.
Yeah.
I bet they'll put all of it together though. If they are going to talk about her imitating her dad, then all of that's going to happen next time. So maybe you're right. I couldn't tell whose voice it was. If you listen to the dub, was it Jerry Jewell?
I think it was, but I listened to it Monday, so it's been
Jewel.
a couple days.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can't remember the guy who plays Yame, but him and Jerry Jewell have completely different voices. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, because I think I remember listening to it, like, specifically, and I was like, I'll definitely know if it's Kyo in the dub version. So.
It's like, I prefer to wildly guess. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Okay,
a lot of
maybe.
times I'll, like, put on the dub just kind of in the background as I do something else after, like, taking notes on the sub. Mm-hmm. So I have to pay attention to it, but like this time and like the last time when I was trying to figure out the Momiji line, I was like putting on the dub. It's like, will I recognize their voice in English?
No. Yeah, it was different.
Yeah.
No, I normally I watch the dub, but I just haven't been able to the last 2 times because I've just had to work a lot and stuff. Which sucks. I would like to actually really want to watch some of these scenes back in the dub. Like, I want to see Shigure being a jerk, and I want to see the creepy scene with him and Toru. Like, I want to see what they did. It is creepy, right? Like, it's not just I don't know, because he's also
I think it's meant to be like from his perspective. I think it's sort of it's supposed to be like bitterly wistful, like. Yeah. But I think it's supposed to be unsettling to Toru. Like, she's obviously like, what?
What? It's definitely unsettling to Toru. It's because it's like, you could read it as romantic. I don't think you're supposed to, but you could. And that's what makes it creepy to me. But, like, because he's like, oh, I should have. Yeah,
it's not without, like, overtones.
I should have longed for someone like you.
Yeah.
He said to a 16-year-old, the author said to a 16-year-old girl or whatever. But, like, I mean, it makes sense. It's just weird. Like, it's just kind of weird that she's the focus.
I think it's part of him being, like, I mean, he's the whole first half of the episode is him talking about how he's twisted and stuff, like, before that scene, so.
Yeah, it doesn't help, does it?
Yeah, I think it's part of his, like, I'm a fucked up person kind of thing.
Yeah. His, like, none of what we're talking about is spoilery, I guess, but his introspection is very interesting to me. I always found this whole set of, like, that chapter is really interesting from a Shigure perspective. Like, I never really know what to make of it, but it's interesting. Like, he's obviously super self-aware about how he feels, but, I mean, really, he's just, like, jealous and he doesn't want Akito to be in this, like, super close relationship with a ton of other people, which is, like, reasonable. And everyone who listened to the manga series knows that I hate him because I think the way that he treats Akito is unreasonable. Like, with how he's like, I think I'm on Hattori's side with this, where he shouldn't just keep being a jerk to her. Like, that's not going to change her, right? And obviously he's frustrated. So
yeah,
I don't know. Whatever we've said before, they have an interesting relationship.
Yeah, they deserve each other.
Like Mrs. Pouty and Mr. like closed off, you know. Like, all of their behavior is not without reason. I mean, Shigure's kind of is, but especially when he's like, I don't know, I just, like, never really cared about having deep feelings from connection to other people. Only Akito. It's, like, what he's saying in this part, so.
Yeah, like, I think they're very, like, I mean, as realistic as you can be in a series about a curse. Realistic, like, human emotions that they have on display. But
yeah, Akito is scared and of things changing, which many people are, though they won't admit it. And she believes, like, a lot of people compare the Sohn family to, like, a cult. And it's like, Akito, I think what you learn in, like, the later seasons of Fruits Basket is, like, in the later chapters in the manga is that Akito is not the leader of the cult.
No.
Like, Akito is all swept up in it too, right? Yeah. Like, she's been told all these things all her life, and there's nobody there. She's super isolated, so there's nobody there to refute them, except for Ren, who she hates, so...
Yeah.
And
yeah, she's very much a victim as well, just also a perpetrator of abuse. Like...
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Which is not uncommon.
No. So... But it's okay, things will change.
Mm-hmm.
Shigure will get what he wanted
changing.
in the end. Yeah.
You can't stop.
People and feelings, too. Well, I'm excited if there's going to be Kyotoru stuff, because basically, like, I'm expecting a significant amount of Kyotoru things this season, and none of them have happened yet. So,
yeah.
Which is fine, but it'd be nice to get a little hint.
Yeah, I think we've been getting the build up now, so it'd be a good time for it.
Yeah.
Especially with this episode.
Kyo freaking out.
Yeah, Momiji's taunting, quote unquote.
I described him as, like, being cheeky. Like, he's kind of like, he's like, but you know, right? And then he's like, maybe Toru will accept my proposal. What, did that bother you? Yeah. Yeah.
I like how he's, like, still fucking with Kyo, even, like, while having his own, like, internal crisis, where he's like, my curse is broken. What would you think if I said that? He's like, stop?
Yeah, really. If you were going to fuck with one of them, though, like, Kyo would be the one to fuck with, because he's so reactive.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. I feel like Momiji has always had kind of a, like, annoying little brother relationship to Kyo, so.
Yeah. Also, like, I feel like you couldn't say that to, like, Yuki. He would just be sad,
yes.
You know? Like, he would be like, what? You know? Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot to talk about in the non-spoilers. It's okay. We're all privy to secret things here, but this isn't a secret. But when Miji was like, I'll keep this, I won't tell anyone that, and he said, like, I thought about why I'm the only one whose curse broke or something like that, and I was like, he doesn't know. Like, I kind of didn't forget, but I was just like, right. Like, he doesn't, nobody knows about Kureno.
Yeah.
So Momiji thinks he's the only one. And I was like, oh, it'd be so nice if they were, like, could tell each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Could form a sad former cursed person club.
In the opening credits, we didn't talk about it because it's kind of spoilery, but they're paired side by side in the opening credits, and I think it's for this reason that that they're shown that way. Like when they kind of pair everybody up, and I thought that was a good call, subtle call. But...
Yeah, dude, I can't remember if it like. Does anyone else ever find out about Kureno, or is it just at the end he's just like, oh yeah, my curse totally just broke, just like you guys just now.
Well, Shigure knows.
Yeah.
And I bet by extension Hattori knows. Because Shigure was like, you know, right? So like Shigure and Hattori know. Let's think who knows what at this point. So Akito knows both Momiji and Kureno's curses are broken. Nobody else knows Momiji's curse is broken, except everyone is like, all the kids are like, what's up with Momiji? Something different about him? Is it just because he's tall and handsome now? You know? Yeah. So I think that they
like,
can tell.
Why does my heart flutter when I look at him now?
What is this feeling? So sudden and new. So I think they can tell. Like how Kyo was like, what's up with you? He's like,
yeah.
Anyway, so I guess there's that. And then with Kureno, Toru knows, and Shigure, and I think Hattori probably know. Later Shigure tells Rin that hasn't happened yet in the anime. So then Rin knows.
Does he actually tell her that his curse broke, or is he just talking about how like it'll break eventually? And
maybe he just says it'll break eventually.
Yeah. Although Rin's the one who's like, he's not one of us. He's weird about
Kureno. Fuck that guy. Poor Kureno.
Gonna go punch him.
Punch him in the face. Rough him up. All he says is, so Shigure goes to visit her, and he's like, I didn't come here to just give you a hard time, and I can sympathize, but I came here, I thought I'd tell you something good. And he says, listen, it's about the curse. It does break even if you leave it alone. It'll happen eventually. You don't have to be so desperate. Believe me. It's already starting to fall apart. Blah, 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 blah. We are the last Zodiac members. Final banquet, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, stop toying with me. Do you have any proof? And then Toru shows up and is like, when? Because if not by then, Kyoka will. So, yeah, I guess he didn't actually say that. I hope so. It'll come soon enough.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Toru moments.
So good. So many good Toru moments. Can't wait for her to be like, no, I have to go against my mother. Man, this is a good series. Aren't you glad that it's being animated?
It's a delight.
It's a delight. It's a sad, sad delight. Yes. It's like I only cry once an episode or whatever. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know.
I cried 12 times, 10 out of 10.
I guess we'll see what happens next time, because if it's that part, are they going to have something else? Like, I guess they would have to have her, like, backstory with her mom leaving and stuff, and then have the scene of Kyo, like, talking to her grandfather and stuff, and then the sheet scene, if all that's going to be in one thing, so that would probably take up all the episode. Perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see them maybe doing the that's not soon enough scene either, like as a lead into that or as like the ending of the episode too. I don't know if they chose to do that, but
then they would have titled it "But Kyoku" or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, won't we? Because we were talking about that Yukimachi scene before, it reminded me that all their confessions and Mogeta givings will be cute.
It's like he has to go to Ayame shop for the Mogeta.
For the Mogeta. Then he gives her the tiny Mogeta, and then she holds it up. This is the most important scene in Fruits Basket. That's what you're talking about.
And Yuki's like, that means she likes it. And Kakeru's like, okay.
Okay. He's like, yes, in the background, which I think is really great. Like they're watching like a wild animal, you know? Like she took the bait.
Machi in her natural habitat.
That one episode, or that one thing that we were talking about happening, I forget what it was, something that we thought was going to happen next. I think it's like around, actually it might be that same time, because what I want to talk about is like Kimi's backstory. I'm pretty sure it's in that same scene or something.
Yeah, I think it is.
I wonder if they'll animate that. I hope so. Again, the other second most important scene in all of Fruits Basket.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I meant Kimi's Basket. Another Kimi. Okay. I don't have any other things that I want to say, except that, well, if there's going to be Kyotoru scenes next time, then that's cute and exciting. There's going to be drama. Like, that one time they showed that, like, sad...
Yeah, because it's like... She's like, if you gave a present to Machi, you should give something to me. And then they're like, how are you so overconfident all the time? And she's like, it all started that day.
Yeah. Good, I was right. I like that. I enjoy that part very much. What I was going to say about Kyotoru is there's going to be so much drama once they get into her mom stuff. Like, they had that scene, because it hasn't come up yet in the series, like in this season. But they had that, like, scene of her last series where she, like, wakes up in the night. That was so sad. I was like, oh. Or she's, like, sick or something, and she, like, dreams about her mom, basically.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no. A preview of season 3. Yeah. But then Kyo will be there.
We've had a little bit of tiny Kyo and Kyoko, haven't we? In the anime.
Yeah, because they put in the parts... where Yuki ran away and then Kyo was there too. So there was a bit. I don't think it was extensively shown, but yeah.
We had Hatsan's backstory.
The other most important backstory in Veruba. Oh, they didn't they didn't show Toru's shelf this time. I don't think.
Oh yeah, I didn't even pay attention.
I was like, what's going to happen with the shelf? And then last episode, maybe 2 ago, even, they stopped showing it, or they showed it, and then last time they didn't show it at all, and I was like, oh, I wonder if they'll show it again. They didn't. But at least they played the opening theme this time, which I really like. So. because, as I said before, it's a chill beats to study to the genre.
I skip it.
You skip it, so rude. I was like, ooh, the theme song. And then I watched the episode, and then I rewatched it again to write notes, and I was like, and now the theme song. Now we listen to it. It's fine. The end theme song is good too. I don't like know the words or anything, but I like the part where it goes haru da da, and then it goes into like the chorus or whatever. I'm always like, oh, it's that part. The part's coming. Is that weird? Does nobody else do that? You know what I'm talking about? It's like when they get to like part. Catch You Catch Me.
Yes.
You know. Okay, I don't have any other things that I want to chat about this time.
Me neither.
Okay, well, next time we'll talk about whatever happens.
Yes.
It was so foolish. Otherwise translated as she's so stupid or whatever. Manga. So harsh.
It's pretty cute, though.
Yeah. I think he is talking about how she acted, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think the next sentence is like, she must have looked so stupid or so foolish or whatever. So I was like, that's harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway, whatever. Okay, cool. Well, we'll see what happens.
Making it foolish is meant to connect it to the foolish traveler stuff.
You're right.
Because that's always associated with Toru.
Okay, good. So nothing else?
I don't think so.
Okay, so we'll see you next time for that. Thank you for listening. Thanks for listening to all our weird 80s songs.
Karaoke.
Yeah, it was a good time. I had fun. Singing Christmas songs or whatever.
You can't not have fun singing Wham.
No. Wake me up before you go. Especially that song.
Hanging on like a yo-yo.
I want to hit that high. Yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye.